right, we're having like. I'm very excited to be just chilling and crafting today because Minnesota has decided it wants to go back to winter. Like
Oh,
we got, and so now I'm like, I just want to be in my house in my sweatshirt, being all cozy and knitting because it was like 60 last week and now we're back to 20. And I'm
oh
like,
my goodness.
no, we don't
Yeah.
need to go.
Yeah. Look forward, Minnesota.
Like, can we just like, especially now that the snow all melt, like has mostly melted, it's like we don't need to go back to winter. Like, if it's not going to
Yeah.
be pretty and white, let's just move on.
Yeah. We've been having heat advisories and breaking records for how hot it is for this time of year. So that's been fun. I
Oh,
know it's definitely not hot compared to a lot of other places, but for us it is, and it's concerning. And also, like, none of our places have like air conditioning because we don't need it usually. Um so that's not been great. And then today all of a sudden it's like cold and misty again, which I love. That's like probably my favorite kind of weather, I guess, after rain. Um but it's just like all over the place because global warming.
yeah. It
Mhm.
is hard, like, because I'm also in a place, obviously, that doesn't have air conditioning. Um, and we're not getting the really hot summers, but we are getting the wildfires, which means that we have to, like, we're supposed to close our windows. So it's like, we don't have air conditioning and like all the like guidance is like close your windows and turn on your air conditioning and circulate the air, and I'm like, we don't, like, people don't have air conditioning around
Yeah,
here.
with what? With what?
Yeah, and it's like hot enough that like closing your windows is very like stifling.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
so
it's
sorry that you guys are like having to worry about wildfires as well. It is awful.
yeah, it's
Like
definitely
our
not.
wildfire season used to be like a couple months, like a month or two at the height of summer, and like it was still scary and obviously things still happened, but it wasn't like now where it's like almost the whole year is
Yeah,
now considered like elevated risk for wildfires, and it's just like
yeah, not fun.
yeah. Yet another reason when people are like, I use Chat GPT to blah blah blah, and I'm like, you no. Like, you did what? No.
Yeah, yeah, I know, like this whole, like the environmental thing, I don't think people realize like the wildfires are part of this. Like,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be they're, I don't know when it is, but we're supposed to be having like, I work in a nature center, right? And so like we have um a somebody from the tribes is coming to do like a presentation about kind of like, the history of wildfires and when, a lot of Native Americans actually use like, fire that like went with the fire naturally, like, like the way.
Controlled burns, yeah.
And now, we've kind of like, controlled it for so long of like saying no to like all fire, that now it's like out of control because a lot of that brush never got
Yeah.
taken care of naturally. And so I feel like that's going to be a really interesting um, topic to go to. So I'm interested to hear that and more of the history of the area back when they kind of went with the more natural cycle of like letting it burn when it, was naturally doing it.
Right. When it sort of needed to, and then you can avoid a lot of the like catastrophes, like
Mhm. Yeah, because it would burn in like smaller patches instead of like spreading everywhere.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like I just had to go to a webinar this week about basically like for people that work in outdoor education to like talk about policies and all that stuff about wildfire and when we have to get the kids inside, which is so hard because we're just not meant, like our facility is not meant for the kids to be inside. That's like the whole point, is to have the kids outside. And so it's like we have to rewrite a lot of our curriculum and like find engaging things to do with like 20 kids inside a room that they were not meant to be in for an 8-hour camp day, you know?
Yeah.
Not fun.
Nope, definitely not.
So what are you working on today, Kara?
So today I am working on a shawl, and I think if I can get it finished in time, it's actually going to be a gift for my mom for her birthday. So I really like the yarn color. It's kind of like a lilac purple with blue, like, and I'm still like near the beginning of the shawl, but yeah, it's going well. It's seed stitch, which I love the look of, but this is reminding me that seed stitch is basically ribbing.
Yeah, because this is just we go back and forth.
Right? Yeah, just like offset. But it's okay. It's worth it because I really like how it looks. Yeah, but that's what I am working on, and I think I have like I'm really excited because I had this like this yarn set, and I wasn't sure what to use it for. It's like 3 skeins of, I think I picked sock weight. And I just like hadn't figured out what I wanted to do with it, because like I like making socks, but I don't want every like color coordinating set to be like socks.
Yeah.
And then like it was really funny because there's a couple of pattern designers that I'm subscribed to their newsletters. Most of them I'm not, but there's a few I follow. And it was really funny because she, like, the subject line of her newsletter was something like, the shawl I knit 3 times or something. And she's like talking about it in the update. And she's like, I'm not usually somebody who makes a pattern multiple times. Usually, like if I do, it means that it's like a pattern I really fell in love with, or something went horribly wrong. And she's like, it was the second one. Like, so basically, she was talking about how this pattern of hers that she wrote, like, she had to knit the sample 3 different times because like things kept happening. Like the first one, it got mixed up with laundry and accidentally felted. The second one, she like lost while traveling somewhere. And so finally, this third one, she's like, this is it. This is the last one I want to make. So in honor of that, she's like, I'm having a little pattern sale. So the pattern is like, I forget how much off if you like wanted to get it. And I was like, oh, like this has been a pattern in my wish list anyway. So what a perfect opportunity. It's the, let me look at what it's called. The designer is A Bee in the Bonnet. Let me see if I can look up what the shawl's called. I think it's like berry scone shawl, something like that. Hello, Huck. Welcome.
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
All good, all good.
There's just looking up her pattern name.
Yeah, so I think it's berry scone, but let me look to see.
What is it?
It's the shawl that I am working on. Yeah, it's the berry scone shawl by A Bee in the Bonnet.
Berry scone.
Yeah.
That on
it's really pretty. Yes, it is on Ravelry. And it's got like interesting pattern repeats, so I think it's gonna be, it's like a bigger project because it's made in sock yarn. So I should say a longer project, but I think I'm gonna stay interested because there's like different sections and stuff, which I like.
Now I gotta see it so I know what it looks like. Oh, that's pretty. It's kind of lacy.
Yeah. There's like lace sections, there's bauble sections. Huck, I was talking earlier, I was like, it's really pretty and it's in seed stitch, which I really like, but this is reminding me that seed stitch is basically ribbing. But it's okay because, like I said, I like how it looks. So
I see this. So like the beginning and the end is seed stitch I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wait. What did you say it was called? I'm trying to look it up too.
Berry scone shawl.
Okay. Oh. That does look nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm hoping I'll have it finished for my mom's birthday. We'll see.
Oh, so it's a gift.
It is. It might be a
Okay.
gift I borrow sometimes, but I can't say that when I give it to her because my mom's one of those people where if she knows that you like something that she has, she's like, you should keep it forever. And I'm like, no, like I made this for you. I'm just saying, like, I like the colors in it. Could I borrow it maybe one time if I want to use it? And she's like, you should just keep it. And I'm like, Mom, no, missing the point. So
Like, I
we'll
know
see
what
how that goes.
thing I just made for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I appreciate your generosity, but I really want to give this to you. That would make me even happier than having it. See? What are you guys working on today?
Hold on. Sorry.
I just did something.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You go, because I need to put my stitch thingies on so I don't lose it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I did like 4 stitches and I was like, oh no, wait, I should just go back so that I don't have to like, hold it some weird way. So I finally got more yarn to finish this green sweater that I like pulled apart a different sweater to like make this, but then I didn't have quite enough. And I'm at the point where, well, I almost finished it and then I was like, I think I decreased too quickly and it was making the sleeve shorter because it pulled the shoulders up too high too quickly, and so the sleeves were like here, and I was like, if they were like here, and then I was like, they'll stretch a little, but like up here was too much.
Yeah.
So but I had a lifeline in it, so I ripped back to a point, and now I'm like redoing it, decreasing more slowly so that hopefully the shoulders will like, it'll be a little lower and the sleeves will be. Anyways, hold on. Oh no, now what did it do? So this is where I'm at because it's a bottom up sweater. So I did the bottom. I've got the sleeves. I think I showed you the sleeves last time, which are like a lace design.
Very pretty.
And so now I'm at a point where like I bound off because I'm trying to turn this into a square neck, and I think it's gonna work because it worked before. It's just that I've decreased too fast.
Yeah.
But so I bound off here, and now I'm like going back and forth. And then I also towards the end thought of something that would make it work better, like something I could do to like make the angle better, but I thought about it too late, and so like this time I'll start it earlier. This probably doesn't make sense, but hopefully it's gonna be good. And then once I finish that, I'm gonna do an I-cord bind off in this red, so it'll have like red around the thing, which I even did the I-cord bind off and everything, and I was like, it looks good, but the sleeves are too short.
Yeah.
Anyway, but also it's probably good that I did this because there was, how sometimes it reaches a point, like if there's a certain amount of mistakes that I'm okay with, and then there's like a point where I'm like, this is too many mistakes.
Yeah.
And there were just like too many times that I messed, because there's these like eyelet design along the raglan decreases.
Yeah.
And there were just too many times where I made a mistake. And like if there had been like one eyelet that was kind of wonky, that would be fine. But there were too many, and I was like, it's probably better that I just redo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And yeah, now I just have to go back and forth, and I'm hoping also now that I'm not decreasing too slowly, so it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's a mystery.
We'll all find out together.
Yeah. But I have finally decided what my next project is going to be, which is very exciting because for a while I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So that's fun. Anyways, what are you doing, Kelly?
I'm making my first sweater. So I'm on a journey of my first sweater because my first sweater I had started was the one you had talked about that had the whole video. And I started that and I got to like the end of the increases for the raglan. And then I was like, or maybe I was only partway through the increases. I don't know. I was very much still in the yoke. And then I was like, I feel like there's a lot of things I have questions about. And so then I went and like signed up for a sweater class and started the sweater that was for the sweater class. So now I feel much more confident to go back to that other one. But this is my sweater for the class. And I told Kara, I have my last class. So now that they've sent me off on my own. But this is where I'm at. So the raglan increases and they finished the yoke. And now I separated for the sleeves and I made it a couple inches, but then the last class we were learning how to do the sleeves. So I had to like stop that and go to the sleeves. So now I'm on.
Yes.
So I'm on one of my sleeves. And then this is the one that has the like garter panel on the sleeves. So
right.
So I'm doing the sleeves, but there's the garter panel in it. And I stopped because I was looking and I was like, did I do 2 knits in a row? I'm a little panicked, but I can't tell if it's just that was looser or if I actually did 2 knits in a row. So I'm just staring at it, trying to figure it out. If I need to go back. Because, you know, it's supposed to be like knit, purl. And I was like, wait a minute. I can't tell because it looks like maybe it's just that I have a really loose stitching. I don't know. Just seems wider there. So I'm like questioning myself now.
Yeah. It's a really pretty color.
Yeah. It's kind of almost enemy. I like it. So I don't know. Maybe if I go around one more time, I'll really be able to tell if it's.
Yeah. If it's like a 1 stitch thing, I usually ignore it. Unless it's like super, super easy to fix. If it's 1 stitch, I'm like, I barely notice. I don't think anybody else would.
Or just do the same on the other side and be like, it was a choice.
Yeah. And obviously it's up to you to decide which mistakes you're like okay with. Like Huck was just talking about is like everybody has a different line where it's like, all right, this is not as fun because I know that I did things wrong.
Yeah. There's that tipping point of like, well, now I'm gonna be mad about it every time I look at it, and the ones where you're like, I can ignore that. I'll probably forget about it eventually.
Right.
Yeah. I think it doesn't help that I'm like still not great at reading my knitting. So I'm like, because it looks like it has the same amount of loops in between. So I think it's probably just that I did one that maybe isn't as tight.
Yeah. That can be like especially common if you're changing to a different stitch or if it's at like the beginning of a round. Like I have to be careful about that when I'm doing socks, like knitting in the round. So like I will often have 1 or 2 stitches that are a lot looser, and I'm normally a pretty tight knitter. So I don't know if that could be it as well.
Yeah.
But
I'm also like using these 12-inch needles for like circulars for the first time because that's what I'm trying for this sleeve. I want to try different ways to do sleeves.
Yeah.
But this time I was like, I'm going to do this one. And then because she was teaching both magic loop and doing it with the 12. And I was like, well, I'm going to try the 12 first and see if I like them. Because if I like little short, stubby needles, then maybe I could be like, because Huck, aren't you the one that likes little short, stubby needles instead of double point? Like that you use these
by short needles, you mean like the cord is short?
Yeah.
I usually, if I can, I try to stay on circular needles as long as I can, unless the sleeve is like, and most of the time that's fine unless the sleeve is like really fitted, and then I have to go like at the very end I'll go down to like double pointed needles. But yeah, I like to stay on like a really short circular needles. And also I think sometimes it works out because I've heard some people sometimes have an issue when they're doing sleeves that they end up being too like tight, and that they're like, oh, as you're doing sleeves you should like stretch the stitches out so that it doesn't end up being too tight. And if you're that's never been a problem for me, and I think part of it is because I use the circular needle, so I end up having to stretch the stitches anyway as I'm going to try and get around it. I was like, I think this is a self-fixing problem.
Yeah. Always nice to have those.
My stubbornness to be like, I can make it work.
Yeah, I do feel like the times I've used double points for like hats or something that I end up with it a lot tighter because I'm always like panicked that they're gonna fall off the ends. So I'm always like,
and also
so tight
with double pointed needles. As you switch from one needle to the other, you want to avoid laddering,
right?
Which right now I'm actually knitting a sock on double pointed needles, and I've started doing that thing where like when you finish with one needle you put the last stitch onto the next needle, then I like doing, I didn't used to do that, and I started doing that and I was like, oh, this is so much better, although it does make your starting point like spiral.
But that's also good because it means that you're less likely to stretch out the beginning of the round, because that can also happen. Like it can be a good thing to move your starting point, because then you don't sort of like, you don't get that like memory, you know, in the yarn or in the needles.
Well, one of the things, so I've been kind of experimenting with making socks recently. Oh, did I tell you last time I was trying to make a flat sock?
Yes.
I finished that. This is the sock that I knit flat and then I seamed it. And like the seam, I need to try wearing this with a shoe and see, because when I put it on, I'm like, I don't feel the seam, but I'd have to try wearing it like with a shoe and see if it rubs. But right now I'm working on another sock. Sorry, Kelly, that I just kind of took over your time. I just realized like I'm just talking about myself again. But the other sock I'm trying, because I realized on double pointed needles, the thing that I disliked with making socks the most was starting the first few rows on double pointed needles is really annoying because it's so fiddly. And so what I'm doing right now is I knit the cuff of the sock flat and then I joined it in the round, and then I'll just go back and seam up that little like half an inch of cuff, and that probably won't rub anything because it's not even like inside the shoe in most cases. But that way I already have like a little bit started before I join in the round on the double pointed needles, because that's the thing that really annoys me the most. Anyways, Kelly, continue. I'm sorry, I just like took over.
I don't think I was saying anything.
Well, you're telling us about your sweater.
Yeah.
And doing the sleeves on like little circular needles.
Yeah. I think I mean, I'm enjoying that so far. I knew I didn't want to do the whole thing on double point, and I wasn't sure I wanted to learn magic loop yet. Like, I think I eventually want to learn magic loop, but I was like, I know how to use circular needles already. So
yeah.
It's
sometime I want to try, was it called traveling loop? That's kind
something
of like an alternate to magic loop. Anyways, I want to try it. I'll have to look that up again, but I saw someone demonstrate it and I was like, that looks good. Like a good method.
Sorry, I'm counting and I'm trying to think of what I was going to say at the same time, and that's not a good mix. Why did I do that? It's fine. Okay, I'll have to recount anyway. Yeah, I think like, so when I was teaching myself sock knitting, I think the like really like hold your hand step-by-step pattern that I used and that I love and I swear by, they had the double pointed needle version, and then I guess the other one, I guess it probably had to be magic loop, but I don't remember. And because like I had never done a sock before, so it was going to be complicated and different regardless. And just like hearing the description of magic loop, I like didn't understand it, and I'm like, all right, well, I know how to use knitting needles. I haven't done double pointed needles, but since I'm already gonna have to learn this whole new construction anyway, this feels like less of a jump for me. So that's why I started with double pointed. And it was actually a long time before I tried magic loop, and then when I did, I was like, oh wait, that's what this was the whole time? That's not that bad. Like, that's not that complicated. I like that. So I like both, but I actually have never done the small circumference, like circular thing for sleeves and everything. I did buy one for a sweater I plan to make at some point. So it will happen, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
I tend to do magic loop for sleeves.
Yeah, it helped that also that since I had to stop doing my body to do the sleeve because of the class, instead of having to put on waist yarn, now I just like left my longer cord on my body, you know, and I'm gonna come back to it. Where if I was gonna do magic loop, I would need that longer cord to do the sleeve.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, this way I just leave it there and
Yeah,
I don't have to, like, take it out.
That's actually kind of the order of things that I've started doing. That if I'm doing a top-down sweater, unlike this one, the thing that I like to do is I'll do like, you know, yoke split for sleeves. I get halfway through the body. Whenever I run out of yarn, I just put that on hold. Then I knit the sleeves, and then I come back and finish the body, because the body is so boring most of the time because it's just so much, and it's just the same thing.
Yeah, which was how I was feeling already, and I had only gotten 2 inches. I was like, it's taking forever to get to the stitch marker. Like,
yeah.
Where this is like, I feel like I'm accomplished because
you can just zip through.
You're zipping around.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I need to put a little marker where I started today so I know.
I think I'm going to do to keep it, I think I'm going to be the person that does like where I do a little bit of the body, take a break, do a sleeve, then go back and do some more body, and then do the other sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
I think that way it's like keep mixing it up.
That's alternating even more than I do. But yeah, that's good if you need to like alternate. Yeah.
Because I think that'll help me, because my problem...
Keep it fresh.
Yeah, because I have this problem of, this is why I skip to different projects and don't finish things, because I need to have like new things. So if it's like, this would help it feel like I'm doing something different, but it's the same project.
Yeah. I really want to do something that's like, I need something, my next project to be something that's not just a solid color, or like just not just like straight solid color stockinette, because I'm like, this is, I guess now I'm at a point where I'm doing the decreases and stuff. I don't know, it's just kind of boring. I need something else going on.
Yeah, I kind of I don't know why, but I kind of in the mood to do a striped sweater. So then it would still be probably stockinette, but then you would change the yarn. So maybe that would give a interest to have like every few rows would be a different color.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know if that would help or not. And plus, I just saw somebody doing like a video that was like everything they had knit in 2025, and they were wearing their current like just finished project, and it was striped, and I was like, that I like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I was telling you about this before, but also one of the reasons I'm kind of trying to figure out my like optimal way to make socks is because I want to make my own socks. I have like, but I want them to all be like essentially the same thing, but all of my socks, I want to make all of my own socks. Because there's this pair of socks that I have had for years that I really like. They're just like, in construction, they're just like basic socks. But they have these very skinny black and white stripes. And I just like them so much. And I feel like they are just the right amount of like adding a little whimsy, but not like costumey or anything. Except that I do wish that they had like the little gold like heel toe cuff with the black and white stripes. I think a gold like heel and toe would be really cute. And I can't get any more of the, well, I probably could, except that they come in a pack of 3, but the other 2 socks in the pack are different patterns. And I'm like, I only want the stripes. I don't want like a bunch of other sock designs that I don't want. So my goal is to make a bunch of these socks, because I also just love the idea of having like signature socks, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's a little silly, but I like it. And so I want to do that. Also, socks make a good little side project. Like,
They really do.
yeah, like if you just need something, if you just need to like do something else, or like I'm waiting around for like yarn to come in or something, it's just like a nice. They're also so easy to bring if you need to bring them somewhere, because they're so tiny.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
So
I haven't tried socks yet, so maybe that'll be next.
I feel like socks are one of those things that people either really love them or hate them. You know, some people are so into socks, and some. I feel like I land more on the not that into socks, but I'm trying to be into socks.
You want the end product of socks, so you're trying to like making socks?
Yes.
I do enjoy them, but it's not something that I make all the time. Like, it's not like if I'm in the mood to knit, I'm always in the mood to make socks, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I would definitely say I lean towards liking them. Like, it makes happy clicks in my brain. I find it very satisfying, like the construction of them, and like seeing it come together and like turning the heel, and it's like, wow, just with yarn and sticks, I can make things. Like,
Yeah.
makes me happy.
I've also been thinking about like, I've never made anything with cotton yarn, and I have been thinking that maybe I want to try doing that, because I know some people really hate working with cotton, but also I'm like, it would be nice to maybe have some cotton sweaters, so that there are things that, one, are not quite so hot, because I do get hot easily, so I could wear them in other situations. And two, well, one, I also can wash them more easily. They're not going to felt. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, the other thing is that if they get wet, they won't smell like wet wool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was a thing last year. Like, so my family goes, to this camp every summer, and I had brought with me one of the sweaters that I made, and on the coldest days, I couldn't wear them because it was also raining, and I was like, if I get wet, I'm gonna smell like wet wool all day.
Wet sheep hut.
Yeah. And so I was like, it would be nice to have another option, so I could like be like, oh, it's a cold day and I can wear my sweater that I made myself, but if it's raining, which it often is there at some point, I won't have to smell bad.
Yeah.
I just embrace the sheep smell. I'm just like, I'm going to smell like a sheep. Fine.
Yeah, I guess I could just embrace it and be like,
love me, love my sheep.
Yeah, I guess I could.
I have talked on several of our sprints about how I am like determined to find like cotton projects that I that sort of mimic sweaters but don't have to be made of wool. So I get you, because like the climate here like is not sweater friendly.
Right.
And there are actually, I don't know if this is relatively recent or maybe I just wasn't looking in the right places, but I'm actually coming across more pattern books that are designed for like tops, like things that are sweater-like construction, but they're meant to be done with cotton yarn. So I haven't like, I have started making a couple of those. I haven't like finished and worn one yet. But so far the like construction process has been really nice. I also personally like working with cotton. yeah, like especially if I have like the right, what I consider like the right needles for it, where they're like wood but very smooth wood. I like that.
Mhm.
I find it like pleasant. I know not everyone does, but
Yeah. Well, okay. I have a few questions about working with cotton. One is it like, is cotton yarn denser than like wool? Like, if I make a large garment out of cotton, is it going to feel really heavy? Like, physically heavy, not like hot.
right. That's a good question.
Because that's always
I
been my
don't,
impression of it.
yeah, like I think like construction of garments, if you're using cotton, it tends to be with a little bit thicker yarn.
Mhm.
At least that, like, anecdotally, that's what I feel like I have seen. Like, you know how with wool yarn, it's like you can do sweaters in like sock weight, you can do it in like DK or worsted. I feel like a lot of these sweater style tops that I've seen that are made with cotton, it tends to lean on the heavier, like the thicker side. Um,
Hmm.
which would maybe suggest that it does feel heavier, but like I think it's hard for me to separate like the feeling heavy from like overheating heavy, because I
Mhm.
overheat very easily as well, and so I tend to like equate those things, like
Yeah.
so I don't feel like I have a helpful answer for you. I guess I could look up
Because so,
actual fiber scientists. What do they say?
Because I,
you know,
I
I guess I could answer my own question if I looked at like the yardage and the grams and compared like wool to cotton. But this is the thing, I've been looking around at cotton yarn and I feel like it's harder to find heavier weight cotton yarn, like a lot of like fingering weight. And then I'm like,
yeah,
well, the pattern I wanted to make uses worsted. And so I'm like, am I going to end up with like a 50-pound sweater
Yeah,
if I try
yeah,
to use worsted cotton yarn?
yeah, yeah.
and can you like do two strands or something like, or
Right,
like
that's another option. But then again, is that going to make it super, super heavy?
yeah, is it gonna be dense? I don't know. I
So,
tried a all cotton one sweater from Toting Company, and I felt like it was super heavy. But I also don't know what size yarn they made, since it was commercially made sweater. But I was like,
right.
man, this is like so heavy compared to all my other sweaters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think like, again, speaking from patterns I have personally come across,
Mhm.
a lot of the tops that I have seen that are made for like heavier cotton weight yarn, a lot of them tend to have like large lace sections. And so that might help balance out some of the heaviness. Like I did just a very cursory Google, and it looks like cotton yarn is heavier than wool.
Mm.
It tends to be denser. So that is something that you might want to keep in mind if you're like concerned about that. Like I said, that's not usually my primary concern when I'm thinking of like how comfortable something will be to wear.
Right.
Um, but
Well,
yeah,
they
so
will
you
just be like,
might.
it's like a weighted blanket, but it's a
That's right.
sweater.
It's giving me a hug as I wear it. Like,
Yeah.
and you might also just think about looking for patterns that have a lot of like lace work, or just like open sections, you know?
I don't really like that though, because then I have to wear something under it.
That's true. Yeah, I could see
Would
that.
you do like, I wonder if like a cotton silk blend would like be lighter or something?
Maybe, although then that's going to get expensive.
True.
Mm.
And I am trying to save money this year. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I've never priced out the cotton blends because I haven't had
yeah,
anything
there
for
are a good number of like cotton wool blends, but then I'm like, but then that defeats the purpose of
yeah.
having a not stinky sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the and also, yeah, I guess also the other thing I was thinking about is like, to make, if I want to use cotton yarn, do I have to like have a sweater, like a pattern that is intended to use cotton yarn, or could I use cotton yarn on a pattern that was originally made with like wool yarn? Like how much of a difference, because I've never used it, so I'm like, how much of a difference does this actually make?
So I think that is going to depend a lot on the specific reasons you're substituting, because like I do those kinds of substitutions all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, it is different, but it's not different in the way that I care about. So like, for example, there's been a couple of tank tops I've made that are, I don't remember if they were specifically designed for cotton yarn or if that was just like one of the options, but I think it was at least like a possibility for it. Like you could use it. That was one of the recommended yarns. And instead I did a very fine, like sock weight merino wool, because I was again trying to balance like the climate that I'm going to be wearing it in with the fact that I do get overheated easily. So like a tank top, but made out of like a slightly warmer yarn probably sounds weird to a lot of people, but for me, it's been really nice. Like actually there's a couple that I have worn quite a bit. So that's something where like, yes, it does change the feel. And probably, I don't remember when I was making that one, if I had to make any adjustments to the, I don't think I did. I think I maybe like mixed a size or two, but it wasn't related to the yarn. Anyway, all this to say that it is very different. There are a lot of people who are like, you can never substitute different materials like that. It completely changes the fabric and blah, 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 which they're right, but I want to. Like that's that's why I'm doing it, is because I want a different fabric. So
Right.
I think it might take you like trying out a pattern or two and realizing like, oh, I actually hate this, you know? Or like, hey, perfect, this is exactly the kind of fabric I wanted. So
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunately gonna just depend a lot on what you're wanting.
I wonder if like you would get enough info from the swatch. I mean, I know you wouldn't get the full drape, but you would at least like kind of see how dense it is.
That's true. Do you have any like favorite cotton yarns that are like more like worsted weight or something? Because this is the other thing, is I feel like whenever I go into a yarn store and I look at their cotton yarns, a lot of them are really not soft. A lot of them are kind of scratchy. And I'm like, well, I want like a soft cotton yarn so that I'm not like wearing this like stiff, scratchy thing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, well, so my teacher was talking about this because I said the next thing I want to make is with cotton or cotton blend for summer. And she said, just so you know, because she was like, okay, you can go and look at what we have, but if you touch things and they feel hard and scratchy, keep in mind that cotton is meant to like be washed and moved, and that it'll feel a lot different after you've washed it a couple times than how it feels on the hank. So you wanted to make sure you know, like, it's not like wool where you could feel it and be like, this is how it's pretty much going to feel.
Yeah.
It's definitely meant to move and be.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because like, you know, like think about a cotton t-shirt that you wear. It feels a lot different after you've washed it a few times than like when it's like that fresh cotton.
Some of them, yeah. Some of them are soft from the beginning, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Sometimes, like, so when I asked her, I was like, well, if you do like a sample, is that usually something? And she's like, yeah, it's usually been handled by a lot of people. And so you'll be able to tell better what it feels like in the sample because it will have been manipulated more.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. As far as cotton yarns that I have used, like the one that I use most is not one, I don't think I've made a garment with it yet. But the one I always use for the like cotton dishcloths that I swear by, they make washing dishes a lot easier. I just use like the regular sort of kind that you get at Michael's. There's like is it Loops and Threads, or is it the Lily one? Maybe it's Lily. It's like sugar and cream. Let me look up the one that I just got most recently. Yeah, it looks like they just call it the classic cotton yarn. Cotton yarn, I mean. The brand is Loops and Threads. And so that one is like the very standard It's not overly expensive. Like I said, I use it a lot for like dishcloths and things like that. I would be curious to use it for more of a top, so I might have to do that. Yeah, but when I've used it, I have felt like it is pleasant to use. Like it obviously feels different from wool, where it's not like fuzzy soft, but
Right.
it feels like smooth to me. It doesn't feel scratchy.
Okay, that's good enough. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different texture, obviously, because yeah, it's not like fuzzy, but
Right.
I just
And
don't want it to be like uncomfortable to wear it.
Yeah. I haven't used this one for a top, like I said, but like the ones I have used have felt really nice while working with them.
Okay. Have you ever
Yeah.
used any of the cotton yarn from Knit Picks?
Let me look.
I also am wanting to kind of experiment with cotton yarn because I was considering. So last year for Hanukkah, I made my mom a sweater. And this year I was I haven't decided yet, but I'm considering maybe I would see if my dad wanted a sweater, because he seemed like when he found out I was making one for my mom, he like seemed like he really wanted me to make something for him.
He coveted the sweater.
Yeah, I was like, I'm committing to one gift knit per year. I am not doing multiple, especially
sweater, like
large things like sweaters.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, however, my dad also gets hot really easily, and also I do not trust that he would wash it properly if it wasn't wool. My mom, I believe, I still made her with superwash, but I do believe that she will know to like she will like lay out sweaters to dry flat and stuff. Like I don't necessarily believe my dad will do that. And so it's like I feel like a cotton sweater would be the way to go, so it's not too hot and also less likely to felt and get messed up.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure it's like I want to try making something out of cotton so I know if I'm okay with working with cotton, because some people hate it, and two, find something that's like soft, because my dad is also someone who will not put up with itchiness at all. And so I was like, I got a long view on this.
Yeah. I've mentioned I'm like extremely sensitive to like itchiness or scratchiness, which is why I'm like very picky about wool or wool blends I use. And obviously people have like different things that they consider uncomfortable, but I have not found cotton yarn to bother me in that way. And I have actually used the Dishy yarn from Knit Picks. Again, it's been for like dishcloth stuff specifically, but like interestingly, the pattern book that I am using for a long sleeve top that I'm making out of yarn is one of theirs, and I've actually really been liking it. I really like the pattern. I got like a few of them. It's like one of those it's like a pattern booklet, where it's like 7 or 8 patterns, and it's just like simple paperback binding. I feel like I'm learning that's like my favorite format for getting patterns. Like if I'm buying a physical pattern, I really like that because it's easy to open, easy to make a copy if you want to. You feel like you have a good variety, but it's not like a huge book where sometimes you don't always like every pattern. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, I have really been liking the patterns from them as well. So I don't know if that was something you were looking into, but I think the one
I was aware that they have patterns, but
yeah,
I think really the reason them.
Yeah, I think the reason I got a few at once was like they were having a really, really good sale on their pattern book specifically. It was like 50% off or something.
I feel like Knit Picks in general, I feel like
they are
I'm always on there. I'm like, why is this always on sale?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, but I've never bought anything there though. Yeah. I've never actually bought anything from them though, so I really want to.
Yeah. One thing let me check if this is still current. Okay. Yeah. So I did hear about it looks like 8 months ago is when people were talking about it. Apparently some of the shipments from them did have bugs in them, which is
What?
horrifying. Yeah.
What kind of bugs?
They didn't, I don't know if they, I don't really want to look at bug details, but I don't know
Okay,
if
that's
said,
okay, but that's very concerning.
That was on the
Yes.
nitpick one?
Yes, that is what I was seeing people talk about, at least. I haven't heard anything about it recently, so I imagine they like dealt with the problem. And also it was like, it seemed like it wasn't every order, it was like a handful of people, which is obviously still terrible. But yeah, just so you know, that was happening. And I also saw some people saying like, when I get yarn, I never put it away right away. I like keep it out, you know, to sort of like take care of any of that. Some people even put it in the freezer for a while, especially if they live in an area that gets like moths a lot.
Oh,
Anyway,
I never thought about that. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think it's an issue anymore because, like I said, people were really talking about it when it was.
I would imagine, and that would be not good PR.
Right. But yeah, so that was something that was happening. I have, like I said, used yarn from them before, and I never had a problem with that. It might have been I just missed the problem period. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Weird caveat, but
Yeah.
that's great quality unless you get the bugs. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Maybe they were good quality bugs. You know.
That's right.
The bugs have taste, you know?
Yes. This is the upper class of bug. Like,
oh gosh. Yeah, the sweater that I want to make out of cotton, let me tell you. Wait, what was it called? So it is a new pattern from the same designer that did the Brady loop sweater that I made, which is the one that has the like braid across the back, which is like the most annoying sweater I've ever made. And so I'm like, I don't know if I like the way that they write patterns, but
yes.
also I like their design so much. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. But so they have a new one called the Flow Loop V-neck, which I really like because here, I don't know, you won't be able to see this because I can't like put a picture in the chat, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Probably
we'll
not.
try it this way. But this is, I don't know if you can see that at all, but it has
And
like
you said
a little
it's called Flow Loop V-neck?
Flow Loop V-neck. So it has like these very skinny, it looks like cables almost in like a, so it's like,
I like that. I'm looking at the Ravelry page right now.
why can't I think of words? Oh my god. But yeah, it looks really cool, and I think that it would be nice as like a cotton sweater. Like there are some sweaters that I feel like you need the fluffiness in order for it to look right. I feel like this one would look fine without the fluffiness and could be a nice like cotton sweater.
Wait a minute, you said that she doesn't write good ones? Because I actually think that my next project was going to be one of her projects. I'm just looking. I didn't realize this is other loops.
Well, I don't want to slander anybody. I just was saying that the one sweater that I made from this designer, which was the Brady loop sweater, beautiful sweater. I love how it turned out. It was the most annoying, like frustrating knitting experience that I have had so far with like understanding the pattern. So I don't know.
Yeah, it is the okay. That's so funny. The next sweater I wanted to make was called the waffle loop sweater, and is by her.
Well, because she has some really nice designs.
Because the waffle loop is like where it's got a cable, but the cable starts after the raglan increases. So I think it's like where after you separate. So I thought, oh, that's kind of fun. So then you don't have to do it while you're increasing. So it's like
I'm trying to find the one that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's called waffle loop.
Oh. Let me see. Oh,
So like all here and
that
this
is
like
yeah,
the
that's
pattern, and then
cool.
it's
Yeah.
cool.
I really want to make this other one from her, but I don't know if it would look good on me. That is the high V loop sweater. Because I love the collar design, but the fact is high collars like that don't look great on me. And so I'm like, I really want to make it and I love the design, but I don't think I probably just like wouldn't end up wearing it that much because I would put it on and be like, you know?
I also think that's a really pretty design. So I will say, obviously, it's up to you what you feel good in. But for me to throw my 2 cents in, I know it's not the same design, but like when you wear tops that have just a little bit more of a collar than you usually do, I always think like, oh, that looks really nice on her, you know, like it looks
Thank
like you
you.
look nice in things with collars. So if that's like the main concern you have, I just wanted to say that. But of course, like, yeah, of course, it's going to depend on what you feel good in.
It's certain kinds of collars also. It's that I mean, I think that a lot of times I feel like those more like fitted turtleneck kind of collars is like not my best, but you know, maybe I'll make it someday anyway, just because. But then also I'm like, I should make things that I feel like I will actually wear.
Yeah. Is there a way, like, if you have something similar enough, like, I don't know, that you could like borrow a sweater from someone or something, that you could try wearing it and see, like, because if you hate it immediately, then you're like, okay, I probably don't need to make this.
I have had things that are kind of that like mock neck style that I have worn and been like, you know.
Okay, that's kind of funny because that was one of the examples I was thinking of when I was telling you, like, when you wear things that have a more pronounced collar, I'm always like, oh, that looks so pretty.
What shirt are you talking about? Because I don't even know. It doesn't matter.
Okay, not like a super high collar, but it's like you have like a burnt orange and you have like a green one. It's not like a turtleneck.
I think those are just crew necks. Yeah.
Okay, but they have like a little bit more, right? Or am I misremembering? Maybe I'm misremembering.
I think they're just crew necks that they just like kind of come to here and it's like it's just round.
Okay. Yeah. For some reason my brain was like, those have collars that stand up, so
I don't know.
Anyway, you look nice.
We'll have a really long, in-depth analysis of my wardrobe and which shirts you think look good on me.
I will be happy to help.
Now you have me looking at my shop online and seeing what cotton they have.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, look at this one. Oh, this one's like cotton, but then like they do have some cotton mixes that aren't wool. They have like a cotton nylon and a cotton polyamide. I don't know. Is that just polyester? What is that? Polyamide?
Polyamide, it's like it's one that you get in sock yarn a lot. So I think it might be similar to nylon, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me look. There's one. So I usually tend to buy my cotton yarn from more like mainstream sources. But if I am going to like treat myself to like an indie dyer, the one that I really like that does like specifically a lot of like cotton and natural fibers, I think all of their yarn actually, is Terrapin Fiberworks. I think they do really, really pretty yarn.
Look that up.
And like I said, they are an indie dyer, so it's definitely not bargain prices, but once in a while, if I want to get a little nicer yarn, I really like theirs.
There's this like one that's like obviously a self-striping yarn, looking at the thing, and I look at that and I'm like, oh, I can't make a sweater. But then the lady that taught our sweater class, she brought a bunch of her sweaters in, and she had done a sweater with self-striping yarn, and she did it where she like started from one end of the ball, so she went from light to dark, and then when she put the next ball in, she started from the other side and went dark to light.
Yeah.
Did like an ombre, so it wasn't like light to dark, light to dark. It was like when it went from light to dark back to light, and I was like, oh, I never would have thought about that, so that it didn't look like obviously you changed the ball in the middle of your sweater.
Right, like weird and blocky. That's cool. Yeah, I think that sounds like a familiar technique. Like I've heard someone talk about it or I've seen it described before, but I've never used it.
Yeah, and I think you would
Very
have to
cool.
make sure that you're doing like a sweater that only needed, because I mean hers was like a top, like a summer top, so like it was only needed 2 balls, because if you needed more than 2 balls, then you would have to figure that out.
Yeah.
That seems like advanced for me though. I'm like, oh, now I have to figure out like how this is gonna look when it.
Well, one thing that I always say I think is nice about knitting is that it's very easy to decide for yourself when you want to try something more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how else to describe that, because I mean, any hobby is like that, but there's something about knitting where it's like, I feel like very conducive to, like, okay, I want to dip my toe into trying something, but I don't want to like just fully dive into like color work or whatever. And it's like, well, you can do a small project, or you can do one that's mostly plain, but it just has like the sleeves with colors. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you also can just like continue to just use one color and make a million different projects and never get into color. Like there's so many.
Right, exactly. Like
Yeah.
there's like I sometimes talk to people where they're like, oh, like I still haven't gotten to socks and blah blah blah. And it's like, you don't have to. Like for a long time I was sure that I didn't want to. Eventually I wanted to try and I found I enjoyed it. But it's like one of the things that I feel like is less great about knitting as a hobby is it seems like it's one of those where sometimes there are people who are like, here is the list of topics that you need to like be good at to be considered like a knitter or like a good knitter or like somebody who truly loves it. And it's like, no, like that's not how it works. So again, I guess like a lot of hobbies are like that, but it seems like knitting is one of the hobbies where those people are more concentrated, perhaps. I don't know.
I feel like some hobbies are like, I don't know. Some hobbies can be a little more like pretentious than others.
Mm-hmm.
And that of course there's variety, but some hobbies certainly have like more of that than others.
Yeah.
And if you're comparing things like knitting and crocheting, like knitting has, I think, a higher concentration of like pretentious, like you have to do it this way, and crocheting is much more like do a bunch of stuff, figure it out. Like I don't know. I also like, did you see like months ago there was this whole thing online about, there was this person who had been a crocheter. She was learning how to knit, and she was like complaining about how there weren't like video tutorials with patterns for knitting.
Yeah,
and then all of the knitters were so mad that she was complaining about this. And it's just like, it's just a difference in like kind of the culture and expectation of knitting and crocheting. Like crocheting does tend to be very like, here is a step-by-step tutorial of how to make this exact thing. Knitting at most usually is like, here is a video of a technique, and then you figure out how to apply it to what you're making.
Yeah, I don't crochet, but I can definitely see that from the knitting side. There have been a lot of times where especially being like self-taught, where it's like, okay, I I found someone doing this thing, but how does that work if it's on a sleeve? You know, like,
Yeah.
so I can definitely see that. I have found like some of the knitting patterns, especially for things that I hadn't made before, like the first sweater I made, it had like really broken down step by step. Here's a video link to each step kind of thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
really
like
appreciated. So they are out there, but I
Oh
do
yeah.
think it's less of an assumption that it will have them.
Yeah, I think it's much less common. And like the first sweater that I made had like a real step-by-step tutorial, and that's why I picked that as like a
Yeah.
first one to make. But yeah, so it's like it sure it does exist, but I think it's, as you said, less of an assumption. It's much harder to come by.
Yeah.
And even the ones that do come with video tutorials, it is usually a tutorial for a technique, not
Right.
how to make that item.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that part of, I don't know if maybe crochet doesn't have as much copyright, but like, yeah, if you're designing something, you don't necessarily like, maybe you don't want to have a step because then people don't buy your pattern. And
Right.
Well, usually what they'll do in that case is they don't make the video public. It's like you buy the pattern and then the PDF will have a link to the video, and the video you can only access via that link. So
Mhm.
they don't, so that's, but that's also true that crochet patterns are much more likely to be free. People, not always, obviously, but crochet, for some reason, people tend to not charge money for their crochet patterns.
Yeah.
And of course, there are also free knitting patterns, but yeah.
Again, it's less of an assumption.
Yeah.
As somebody, well, actually both of you guys have done both. Do you guys feel that knitting is more complicated, or do you feel like there's some other reason that knitting tends to be charged for more? I'm curious what you guys think about it. Because I am but a humble knitter who does not crochet.
I haven't been crochet. I tried crocheting at only like a year or two before I started knitting, and I felt like crocheting was harder, but that was just me. I think it's because I had a harder time with my tension on crocheting than with knitting. So I don't feel like it's harder, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like the way the community has been built. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it. Wait, what was the original question? Sorry, I started thinking about what Kelly was saying, and then.
No, you're right. I was just kind of wondering, like, if you feel like knitting is more complicated than crochet, like in general, or if it's some other reason.
I don't know. I think that knitting maybe has a higher barrier to entry. I think like learning the basics of it is maybe a little harder. But like I do feel like crochet is in a lot of ways just much easier to kind of jump in. It's also much easier to improvise with crochet, which I think appeals to a lot of people and is why you also get a lot of like, not that knitting isn't creative, but there's like people do crazy stuff with crochet, you know? Like, and I think because of the way it's much more of like building blocks, like each individual stitch is its own building block. And so it's much easier to be like, I'm just going to whip out some like crazy thing, you know, instead of being like, okay, we have to do math, you know?
Right. I do feel like knitting is like more structured. At least like it appears that way. And it's more like I remember when Huck, you and I were talking about, maybe this was before you started knitting. I don't remember. But we were sort of comparing notes on like what it feels like to like use like to knit or crochet or to like use patterns and stuff like that. And I remember we were talking about how like for crochet, it's like if you're making a top and you need to like change direction for a sleeve, you just do that. Whereas like in knitting, you can't really direct things that way. You have to like construct it. You have to like plan how you're going to either like attach the sleeve, or you have to bind off some stitches and then come back and like, so I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that in some ways crochet is more flexible, like that, and knitting does often take more planning. I think also like, I wonder how long has crochet been around compared to knitting? I'm gonna Google this.
I'm curious too.
I've already made it 2 inches on my sleeve.
Nice.
Look at you go.
That doesn't seem like a lot, but
No, it is. In knitting distance, that's like 3 miles.
yeah. Well, and I was just thinking like 2 inches on my body felt like it took a week.
Yeah. Yep.
In fact, I am like when I fold this over, I am farther on the sleeve than I was on the body after working on the body for a straight week.
Yep.
Of like nightly knitting.
Yep.
So,
Takes forever.
according to a quick Google,
Yes.
crochet, the first like real like known crochet pattern, I think, is from like the 1800s, which means it's much younger than knitting, because knitting has been around
Yeah, since like early
way,
teens.
yeah, like they have like ancient like knitting, knit items, right?
Yeah.
So I think some of it might just be like the amount of history behind it. I feel like something being like younger like that, it doesn't have the same amount of like, I don't know, just like history behind it than
Like
people
structure.
have like built up this kind of culture around it.
Mhm.
I think also, it's interesting because I've seen other people talk online about how the way that people view knit items versus crochet items, and that there's kind of like a general consensus of like, oh, but knitting is prettier. And right. And they're saying like, that's just because we have been like trained to think that it is prettier. And I was like, I don't know, but I think that's interesting as an idea, that it's like, is knitting actually prettier? Like a knit sweater is prettier than like a crocheted sweater,
Right?
Or is
It's
it just
also,
because we kind of culturally go like, this is what a pretty sweater looks like?
it's also like impossible to be objective about like what is considered, like what is beautiful, like the whole beauty in the eye of the beholder. Like it's
For sure.
it's like literally true, where it's like people's own preferences are going to inform what they think is attractive or what they think looks nice to wear.
Right.
I think
or
I agree
what
with
looks
you.
high quality, like what is considered
Right.
high quality
I do
like
think
items.
I do think that the perception of, especially a lot of people who don't crochet or aren't familiar with it, the perception that all of it looks like granny squares, I think definitely plays a role in like the assumption that knitting is prettier. Which it's not that granny squares aren't nice to look at. It's just like it's a very specific aesthetic that people are sort of applying to an entire art.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Mine was like slightly branching to a different topic, so you go first.
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna say, also, I'm fully susceptible to it in that, like, I've been crocheting for like 12 years or something, but I still am like, I do think that knitting is prettier, and especially for like large garments. Like when it comes to something like the like amigurumi, like the little stuffed animals, crochet is great. I love it. For like a sweater, I have crocheted sweaters. I don't like how it looks. Also, crochet is much denser. It's very heavy, and it's really hard to get crochet that does not have holes in it. And so, like, yeah, I I think that knit sweaters are prettier. I like that they don't have holes in them and that they're like thinner and lighter to wear.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, have I also succumbed to the knitting propaganda?
But it also, like, when you're talking about expense and making a sweater, crochet uses a lot more yarn. And
True.
so, like, when you're
It
thinking
uses like
about,
30% more yarn or something like that, right?
yeah. So if you're thinking about making a garment, that's a lot of more yarn you're buying.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that is a reason, like all these other reasons too, those are specific things that you have a preference for. Like, yes, there could be some like cultural
Right. It's like
work,
preferences
cultural
though don't
propaganda.
come from nowhere. Preferences are shaped
Yeah,
by
like
your
saying that you
environment.
don't like something that has a lot of holes in the
No.
fabric. It's like that is a thing that, generally speaking, crochet has and knitting doesn't. I mean, you can do like lace and stuff, but that's like more deliberate construction. But yeah,
Right.
I also like going going back to like the whole like pattern and complexity thing. I also recognize that I am more sensitive about some parts of that because I do enjoy using patterns. I think that's one of the reasons that I am really drawn to knitting is I find it satisfying to find a thing that I want to make and then to make that thing. And like, yes, I will do some small adjustments along the way, but generally speaking, my creativeness doesn't come from like inventing the pattern. And that, like I said, that's something that I can be like very sensitive or oversensitive to, because I think sometimes, and maybe this is a perception thing and people aren't thinking this, but sometimes it seems in the online crafting space, it kind of feels like unless you prefer to like make your own patterns or like change a pattern to be almost unrecognizable, then like you're not like you're a baby crafter, you know, if you don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. And I was like thinking about like how to articulate one of the reasons that bothers me. And it's like, okay, so if you had somebody who was exhibiting a piece in a gallery and you found out that like they did all the design for it, but the actual work of like putting the colors on the canvas or like whatever medium was somebody else, I think like, I'm not saying that what they did doesn't matter, but you wouldn't say this person created it. You would say these two people created this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like part of the word, or like I think like part of what creative means, it can mean that you are like literally creating something even if you are following the instructions. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's a little different from things like Legos where it's like you really are just putting things where they tell you to, and knitting for whatever reason feels different to that from that to me. I don't know if I'm like explaining this very well.
No, I mean, I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so you're kind of separating the creativity of like thinking up the idea versus the creativity of like executing it.
Yeah, and like of course a lot of people do both, and that's awesome. But
Mhm.
like as somebody who tends to do mostly just one, it's like, well, I still feel like I am creating something. I wouldn't say like it's not like I'm going to show something I made and be like, I invented this. Like, no, I didn't. I used a pattern. But like I
Yeah.
still did the work. I still like had to understand the pattern, and you know, there are small adjustments that you sometimes have to make as you're going. Like it just doesn't, yeah, it's like following a recipe doesn't mean that you didn't bake the cake. You know,
Right.
like that sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess maybe because I've always been in a craft that has pattern, like quilting. You go to like a quilt show, and I would say probably 70% of the quilts there are somebody else's pattern. So like,
Yeah,
like, but you wouldn't go around and be like, oh, they didn't make that quilt. Like they obviously
right.
spent
Right.
hours.
It still
recreating-
takes like skill to execute it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
yeah, they had to like do it, and they had to like pick the colors and all this stuff. And then there are some people there that would be like the other 30% that both created the design and made the quilt. So they did both.
Mhm.
But also, like at a quilt show, you would say this pattern is from this, so you would recognize the original artist and then yours. And then if you have somebody else quilt it, like do the finishing, you would recognize them as an artist too. Like that.
Yes.
Could be like 3 artists
Mhm.
in this one like piece.
Yeah.
They're all contributing to the art,
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't identify one of them as a quilter and the others not.
Yeah.
That's a really, really cool example, because like it sounds like the assumption, like when people are talking about quilting as like a craft, as an art form, like when they're talking about quilting, they mean the actual like physical piecing together being the creative part, which I think is cool. And that's kind of, I think, what I was maybe trying to say about like creativity doesn't just mean I think up the ideas in my head. It also means I make them.
Yeah.
And it's not that one is more important, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. I think for me, I usually am somebody that I'm like, I start with a pattern, but I also improvise a lot. And so I am kind of like blending the two. So I'm like, yeah, like I understand what you're saying, but I do kind of I'm not like writing my own patterns for things most of the time, but I think it's harder to me to kind of separate the two, because it's very rare that I would make something that is just following the directions. So to me, it's like harder to kind of separate those two things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're doing like a base, but then.
Yeah, like I like having something to work off of, because I like, even for like sewing, that I'm like, I have designed my own patterns before, but they're not great. I never really got into like pattern making, but I would like start with a pattern and then like improvise, However, speaking of improvising, like another kind of creative thing I was thinking about as you were talking about that is like something like music, that there are lots of musicians who don't write their own music. They play music that other people have written, but they are still musicians. However, for me, music is one of the creative things where like I do not improvise very much at all. I am and this is I've been thinking about this recently, because the other day I used to play, and then I kind of like stopped for a while, and I was like trying to get back into it the other day, because I was like, maybe I should like join, there are like Irish music sessions where like musicians will like all like play together, and it and they're kind of fun, but I was like, I learned how to play music in like the most inflexible way. Because I can't read music. So if I go to like a session, if I don't know the song, I can't just sight read it. So I have to memorize everything. I also I don't like to improvise. And so if I don't know the song, I also cannot just like pick it up and kind of improvise, like, oh, I'll just do like a chord accompaniment, or, oh, I'll just sort of like figure it out as I go. It's like, no, my one way of learning this is I have to know beforehand. I will memorize how to play it, and then I will come and I'll practice it and then come play it. Is the most inflexible way. So it's like when I do like crafts, I'm very flexible, very just like, I'll wing it, I'll figure it out, When it comes to music, I'm just like, no.
Well, it's also, and I think this may have come up in a previous craft discussion, but it's kind of like baking versus cooking. Like baking, you really can't improvise the basics. Like, it's chemistry. You need the right proportions or the baking doesn't happen.
Right, or you
And
have to, like, really understand the chemistry
right,
of
like
it in
yeah,
order
you
to
can
be able to I
right, you
remember
can
this, that yeah, baking is more like knitting and cooking is more like crochet, where it's like you can kinda, like, improvise and, like, taste it and
yes.
be like, "That seems good," you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's not that you can't make changes with baking, but it's like you're not
Gotta
gonna
do more
be you
math.
can't yeah, and you can't just decide like I'm gonna make this, but I'm not gonna use I don't know, like flour or whatever, like it's like you can make
Yeah.
substitutions if you know what you're doing, but if the baking needs a specific chemical reaction, there's no way to
Mhm.
get around that. So like part of the skill in baking is following directions and is knowing when you need to do that and when you can kind of like estimate like I don't think I really need this much milk, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
My knitting has turned into petting my cat.
mm,
Also a good use of time.
He's
yes.
he's decided to snuggle. So,
Aw, baby.
except where are you going now? Where are you going?
He says, You said what I was doing, and so now I have to make you wrong."
Yeah,
Really?
I kind of think
It'll make you a liar.
he wants to lay on top of my knitting, and that's not allowed. So you either lay on my
Okay.
lap or you go away. You don't lay on my knitting because that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I do not negotiate.
That's not going to happen. Sorry, bud. I just noticed like this yarn, I love it that it's soft, but then I was like, oh, this one stitch has like little fluff like coming off.
Mhm.
And I'm like, if I try to trim that fluff, will I end up trimming and breaking my whole thing, or do I have to take like a? So then I'm like, maybe I'll have to get like the snag it tool and like try to pull it through so it's not the fluff isn't on the front. Okay, so now I'm like obsessed with this one little spot on my
Fluff
sweater.
management. Did we want to do our usual single sprint?
Oh yeah,
How
sure.
are we feeling about that?
Sure. Which fine. I need to get
Alright.
fresh water after my cat drank out of mine, so
Yeah.
give me an
And
opportunity to do that.
I need to eat something because it is lunchtime for me. So, should we? Do you just want to come back at the hour? So that's about 25 minutes.
Sure.
Okie doke. I will put that up and we will see y'all in about 25 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we are officially back from the sprint. How was your sprint, Kelly?
It's good. I mean, I didn't do much. I went and got the mail and got water and a snack.
That is all important things. So I think that was a success.
I mean, it's very deceptive out. It looks very sunshiny. So I was like, I'll just run to the mail. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, it's below freezing.
Yeah. Yeah. As you can see, I had to put on a different shirt because our weather is being weird in the opposite direction, where it's like this morning it was so chilly and misty, and then I was sweating and dying. So here I am.
Yeah. We can't have good things anymore. Like,
Yep.
it's just too hot or it's too cold.
Yep. Okay, now I have to remember which repeat I was on.
The only thing about, I mean, I guess this is good about doing the sweater with only part of the body done, is it just feels like there's so much to move around. But I guess if I had finished the body, there'd be even more to move around. It's just like, with a small circumference, it's like you just keep having to move things around.
Yeah. You're just flying through those sleeves.
Yeah. I had stopped for a while, so I haven't done much. I'm just like analyzing my joining, and I need to stop staring at it. Yeah. As my teacher said, it's your underarm. Nobody's going to be looking there.
Yeah. They better not be weirdos. Like, yeah. Hello, Natalie. Kelly, I read those Roald Dahl books you had on TBR for middle grade March.
Oh, yeah?
I was a huge Roald Dahl reader as a kid, but I never read this one.
Whoa. Huck, was that you? That was like scary.
What?
There was like weird crackly microphone noises. It was very strange.
Sorry. I don't know if my headphones were doing something weird.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, the Roald Dahl books were interesting. Like, I don't remember those from my childhood. I must have read them as a kid because I had the copies that had my like little childish handwriting in them, like with my name. Mm-hmm. But I didn't remember them like, you remember like Matilda and like some of those big ones, but these were like a couple more obscure.
Yeah. It's always really interesting to read like lesser known books by super famous authors, Yeah,
it was fun.
Huck, how was your sprint/break?
It was fine. Didn't do anything specific. Just sort of was like, I feel like a lot of times if I am talking for a long period of time that I am just like, I'm not breathing right. Mm-hmm. So just being like, I'm just going to breathe for a little while.
Just chill and breathe.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always like, especially anytime I like batch film videos, the rest of the day I just am like, I feel like I'm not breathing. Like,
yeah. It's like, why am I gasping when I film? Like, it's like, yeah. I like hold off on breathing until I really need to, and then it's like, and I'm like, why am I doing that? I don't need to be doing that. Like,
yeah.
I can breathe like a normal person.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel like when I'm filming that I have to like remind myself to take a breath. That like, why am I out of breath? I'm just sitting here.
Like sprinting while you're filming.
I feel like I just don't know how to breathe.
Natalie, I also I read his autobiography quite a long time ago. I think it's just called Boy, and it was very interesting. So I'm not surprised that you felt the same about like a memoir section of the other books. Like, yeah, interesting life for sure.
Yeah, the one that we read, that Natalie and I read, is like a short story collection. It's the one with The Wonderful Life of Henry Sugar or something like that. Wonderful Story of Henry, I don't know. Whatever it's called is the main story, the longer story, but then it's got other short stories, but it also has like a little memoir piece, like a little nonfiction of like his life. and how he started writing.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, have you guys been reading anything exciting or interesting or noteworthy in any way?
Sure.
You're like, yes, and you don't elaborate.
Yeah. No other comments.
Well, okay, so I am currently reading the Iliad, and as some people say, why? But yeah, because I am not enjoying it. But
Okay.
I feel like I'm not doing it for enjoyment. I'm doing it for like kind of, I don't know. I feel kind of like as completionist, like because I've read a lot of Greek mythology and
Yeah.
Greek mythology retellings and stuff like that. But I was like, I've never read like the Homer epics. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. But I knew I wouldn't like love it because I don't love war stories. And I'm like, all this is a war story. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And sometimes some of the chapters are just like, this guy killed this guy, and then this guy stabbed this guy, and then this guy stabbed this guy. And I'm like, okay, what? This is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read the Iliad and everything and like a bunch of epics when I was in high school, but the way that we did it was like, because I was homeschooled, so the way we did it was my mom read them out loud to my brother and I, and so we would all be like reading it together, and like I also was petting the dog while we were doing this.
Also improves experience.
Yes, but it also just made it more fun because like we could talk about it like as we, because like yeah, it can be a little dry sometimes and also repetitive because it was originally like an oral story, so there's a lot of repetition. And so, but it was kind of like, it was fun to do it together and get to like talk to people about it, and we get jokes about how like they're constantly being like the rosy fingered dawn, and we were like, all right, you know, like you can practice and make like a drinking game out of it, you know, like how often do they say, or like the wine dark sea. They had like a lot of things.
Yes,
like that.
Wine Dark Sea. I remember my sister read, I think it would have been the Odyssey. I think in one of her classes they like read it, or they read like a big chunk of it. And I remember my sister talking about some of the repetitive, like discrete Telemachus. It's like every time they would bring up Telemachus, they had to like use the same adjective. Like, so I
yeah,
get that.
so everyone has an epithet, which are
yes,
like those
yes,
like gray-eyed Athena, and yeah,
it was like I think it was doe-eyed Hera.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh, like every time.
That's funny too, because that's not the description I would necessarily associate with her.
Yeah, the Hera in the Iliad is not the Hera that I feel like I know from other things.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe, and like, yeah, I think, it just depends on, there's so many versions of mythology, that maybe whoever passed this down really liked Hera.
Yeah. Hera did nothing wrong, club.
Yeah. I don't know. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like both like interested in like finally having read it, but also disappointed because I didn't realize that it wasn't like the whole story of the Trojan War, that it's just like a middle insert. And I was like, so we're not even going to get to see the horse? Like, what? Like nobody told me this. But then they started talking about it in the intro, and I'm like, because I don't usually read the intros when I read classics, but I thought with this one, it's like I know the story of the Trojan War, so I didn't really need to worry about being spoiled. But then I was like, oh wait, so you're telling me this doesn't even get to the end? Like, what? So I'm a little like disappointed about that.
There are definitely books where, and probably a lot of them are old ones or classics, where it's like I will be glad to have read this. I am not using, like, I'm not having a good time right now. Like, if you ask me if do I enjoy it, do I recommend it? No, almost certainly not. But I am gonna be glad that I did do it. Like, I
Yeah.
can see in the future I will have been glad about this.
Yeah. I feel like when I was in high school, I was much more willing to like read something just for having read it, you know?
Mm.
So that I could talk to people about it, or so I would understand references to it, or in some cases, so I could fight people about it.
Hey, that's valid. Yeah.
I would read things to fight people, uh, which not a classic, but that is how I ended up reading Battle Royale.
That's funny.
Well, I will say though that I am glad that I read. Oh, what's it called? The one that's about Achilles and Patroclus.
Oh yeah. Song of
Song of
Achilles.
Achilles?
Yeah, Song of Achilles. I'm glad I had read that before reading the Iliad, because this whole time reading the Iliad, I'm like, oh my gosh, Achilles is the biggest whining crybaby of all time. Like, this is the strongest of all the Greeks, is this super whine baby that's like, oh, they took away my slave girl.
Yeah.
It's my spoils from war, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut up and get over it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah,
so like,
it's really. Yeah. Go ahead, Kelly. Sorry.
yeah, so I'm like, I'm glad because I don't know that I could have enjoyed a song for Achilles or whatever if I had read this first.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not. Song of Achilles is not one I have any interest in for various reasons. Partly some like weird age stuff. I don't know. Like, I just heard some weird things about the character ages and stuff, but like I loved Circe, and I definitely want to read other things by Madeline Miller, but that's just not a book I'm super excited about. And so I didn't have that sort of affecting my experience, but like I have read other like Greek epic retellings or sort of inspired stories, and it's like anytime somebody would be like, oh, Patroclus, like he's so great, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, he was like way nicer to his slave women than the other guys were. I guess that's like the standard. Like, it just like all of the men in those stories are garbage, and even in like retellings I've read, it's like they are just like slightly less egregious garbage. Like, I don't see how you could have like a preferred hero in these. They all suck. So
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know. I'm reading this and I'm just like thinking, like, how, like, this is, however old, 3,000 years old, like, and I'm just like, how are we still a patriarchy? Like, I read this and I'm just like these are the people that are in charge. Like,
yeah.
I will be right back. I have to go do something real quick. Continue without me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I am not necessarily enjoying it, but I think yeah, it's educational.
And, right. And there's also things where it's like it can be really fun to like have knowledge and to talk about it, like discussion type books. Also, like, I realized as I was talking about how everybody in those stories are like terrible, it's like very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm very selective about that, because like I'm finishing Vanity Fair right now. Like, I'm at the very end because we're discussing it, I think, tomorrow. And I'm like a Becky Sharp apologist at the moment. Like, she is also horrible. She does so many bad things, but because mostly it's towards people who really deserve it, and because also it's kind of the only way she can take care of herself in the like BS Victorian patriarchy, I'm just like, yes, girl. Like,
Like, you do you, whatever.
yeah.
Okay.
It really feels like William Makepeace Thackeray was like writing the Victorian gaslight gatekeep girl boss. Like, I think I said that in a previous like chat. And I respect him for that. So you know, sometimes I do like garbage characters, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like I said, I do think that a pretty substantial difference is that, like, in these, like, Greek classics, the people that they are mistreating have, like, absolutely no power against them, which I think is significant. But
yeah, which is why I'm like I'm reading this, I'm like, Achilles not great. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Agamemnon is worse,
right. It's like,
but still not great. Like,
it's like any of the other heroes. It's like, I mean, you didn't sacrifice your daughter for a favorable sailing wind. I guess you got that going for you, but not much else. Like, yeah.
I know.
That's
like,
another thing. I'm a Clytemnestra apologist for that reason.
Did you read Electra?
Not yet. I still haven't read it, but I will.
Yeah, because I mean, like, obviously that like is like following Electra and Clytemnestra, and what is the? It also follows the woman who is in Troy.
Oh, Cassandra. Is it Cassandra?
Is that her name?
She's the one who has visions.
Yes.
And nobody believes her. Yes, Cassandra.
So it's like all tragic, but like makes, I don't know, it's like justified female rage.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's what I have really appreciated about Jennifer Saint's books I've read so far, is it's like Ariadne's a great example where it's like not happy the way some things turn out, but it's very like validating, because it's like the things that happen are treated as like serious and meaningful, rather than just like, oh, and I guess some women were traumatized, but look at all this war and glory that happened, you know, like,
yeah.
So I agree.
And I just read, did I tell you I read Hera by Jennifer Saint like a few months ago? And it was getting really low ratings, but I actually like really loved it because Hera is kind of a more like nuanced character, because she is a woman hater, which, you know, we don't love women who hate women. But when you see from her point of view of like her, you know, her being married to Zeus, who's just going off with whoever and giving her no agency whatsoever, but saying, oh, but you're the queen, but really
like has no power. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, so it makes sense of like how she ended up being who she is in mythology. Like, so
yeah, I really look forward to reading that one, because I anticipate having a very similar experience where, like, I was so excited when the book was announced, you know, that she was going to be writing a retelling that was like centered on Hera, because I find her so interesting. Like you were saying, she's obviously not a girl supporting girls kind of person, but the reasons for it, I think, are a lot more understandable and interesting than I think they often are. And I definitely don't think that there's a lot of retellings that do feature her prominently. And especially not as like a nuanced character in her own right. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
And I think the book is also not showing her as like being innocent in it either. Like, I think it's showing, that you can be both. Like, you know, it looks like Natalie's talking about. Did you put? I didn't see it. So this. Natalie's like, I wouldn't ask why.
Yeah. Also, not read it because of the war story.
Yeah, I do want to read the Odyssey, but I figured I should start with the Iliad because it is like in order, you know?
Right. Yeah, Wily Odysseus, I know.
Yeah. So I and actually, since I'm just about to finish the Iliad, I just saw yesterday that Katie, who is one of the like middle grade March hosts, that she is starting a group read of the Odyssey, the same translation I'm reading, the Emily Wilson translation, is starting that in April. So I'm like, oh, perfect, because I am going to be, because I'm finishing the Iliad this month. Like,
yeah,
It has to happen. Like I only have like 4 chapters left.
I'm gonna be so interested in like how you find that translation. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times when people are criticizing things like, oh, but like it's the same thing, but it's just because a woman is translating it and it's not going to change that much, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, there's a lot of examples where it does actually. Like, I mean, yeah, depending on which translation you use. For example, there's a lot of like old biblical stories that read very differently depending on which word somebody chooses or what like it's not like word choice does matter, and as people who read books we should understand that. So
Yeah, I mean
it's always annoying when people act like, oh, it's just for, I don't know, like the points, I guess, that they're like, we're going to publish one by a woman. It's like, it is going to be different.
Yeah.
Like,
well, then what was the book that I think I got it from you and I read it, that was like a nonfiction about biblical women in the Bible, and it was like one of the chapters was about like translation, and like that when they did the new King the King James version, that is when all of the stuff about like being subordinate, like women being like the word choice from the Hebrew into like King James version, they changed the meaning that made it more into subordination instead of just like partners or whatever. You know?
Yeah, the patriarchy was like added later by later translations. So
yeah, the translation does matter, and that is like had affected all of society, this like one translation. So like it can make a big difference. And yeah, I also enjoyed when I listened to the whole, like the introduction for Emily Wilson's Iliad was very long, I think, because I'm listening to the audiobook and I feel like the introduction itself was like 2 to 3 hours before the poem starts. And it was really fascinating to hear her like commentary of like why she chose certain words and why she like the research she did, and like, you know, yeah, like just her method of translating was really interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those situations too where like if people are arguing like, oh, like having a woman tell this story or having like a person of color tell a story is like doesn't change things. It's like, well, you're kind of proving that that we do need that actually. Like if you're arguing that it doesn't even matter, like that it wouldn't change anything, it's like that's kind of like the point, the problem trying to address. It's like I remember in one of my business classes we were talking about examples of how like more diverse groups of employees, like it's not only just a good thing to do for various like moral reasons, but they create better products and they have like more financial success because people bring different perspectives and different knowledge. And like one of the examples we talked about was like this, I think it was a car seat maybe, that was developed by this brand or by this company, and they had I don't think they had any parents, like specifically they didn't have any moms on the like panel or whoever was like testing it or working on the prototype. And you know, generally speaking, a lot of times moms are the ones to use car seats to like load the kids into the car. Not that dads don't, but I think like generally speaking it's more likely to be women. And they had none who tested it, and so they ended up having to pull it because I don't remember what was wrong with it, if it was like unsafe or it just like wasn't functioning properly. But it's like the first time an actual person who has experience with this used it, they were like, you can't do this. And it's like, if you would have saved so much time and money if you just had like a woman involved, like it just yeah, or I guess a man who's comfortable taking care of his own children. That would also be great. So yeah,
parents in general.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you, I just looked it up because I thought I remembered that Jennifer Saint does have a new book coming out this summer, and it's following Aphrodite.
Ooh. Another problematic fave of mine as a main character. Yeah.
Which will be
I think in
appreciate-
Greek mythology, everyone is a problematic fave. Like,
You
I
know
don't
what?
know
You're-
if they're...
You are correct. You are really correct. Yeah. It's true. I do so much appreciate that Jennifer Saint is like writing these books specifically for my interests. How
Yeah.
kind of her.
I feel the same way. I feel like, and I
Exactly.
think it's kind of interesting that she chose this one after Hera, because Hera like hated Aphrodite. So like the view of Aphrodite in that book, I'm assuming will be much different than like telling her own story. So it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting to have those like back to back.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be an interesting book that'll be coming out.
Very exciting.
The one thing I will say for the Iliad, I don't know what the, because like you were saying, Huck, of like your mom reading it out loud, like I do think that they should be listened to an audiobook or read out loud, because they were originally,
Mhm.
you know, oral history. And so I was listening to the audiobook, and it's narrated by Audra McDonald, and I'm like, okay, Audra McDonald should just be narrating everything.
should just narrate. I love Audra McDonald. Oh my gosh.
But
It's very cool.
she's making war a lot more tolerant, because I can at least just listen to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know who does the Odyssey, so now I'm like curious, like specifically the Emily Wilson version.
Mm-hmm.
Claire Danes.
Interesting.
So I have to wait for my, because they're unfortunately only from Audible, so I had to get like an Audible account for a few months just to listen to
Mm-hmm.
the Iliad and now the Odyssey. But at least if I'm listening to them back to back, I can cancel my Audible after that.
Yeah. That is nice. Okay, I might need to start winding down because I do have another call I need to get ready for. It was rescheduled, so.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I realized I dominated the like book conversation though, because
No, like I
reading.
I loved hearing about it. Yeah, I feel as far as I guess my reading update, I just finished Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Which, as everybody has said, is fantastic and also horrifying. But just like very well written. Also, she's apparently written some like middle grade fiction, which I did not know. So I'm definitely excited to check those out. But yeah, it's like a really important and well done memoir, and I am just like so like grateful that she like chose to share her story with everybody, even after being dragged through the like media circus that she was. Like the fact that she chose like again to expose these things after already being forced through that, like the fact that she did it again to like help other people, I think is incredible. Yeah, just very well done. It's not the kind of thing you're like, I enjoyed this, but I really appreciated it and I got a lot out of it. Yeah, and I think like it really highlights how important it is to read like firsthand perspectives, even of issues that you are like familiar with or like you know about, because just by like telling her story, telling the truth about like what happened to her and what she went through and what the court system was like for her, just by doing all of that, it like naturally touches on like so many of the like arguments or the ways that some people will still like victim blame and everything. And it's like just by virtue of her telling the truth, it becomes like this really perfect encapsulation of why all of those excuses are BS. So Yeah, it was excellent, but very heavy. Although with like a lot, like I've heard people say this, and I agree that it's like a lot more hopeful than you might expect, because it's about her being like, this is part of who I am, but it's not all of who I am. Anyway, yeah, so that's the main thing that I read recently.
What about you, Huck?
Yeah, any reading updates?
I have still been on a real like romance binge recently, although I'm like, maybe this will wind down eventually. But right now I am rereading. I am technically like, I started a bunch of different things because I was sort of at a point of being like, I don't know what I want to read. And I started multiple things that I had thought I would really like, and then I got like 100 pages into them, and I was like, But right now, so my solution to that was reread something. So I am rereading Dreamer's Pool by Julie Marillier.
Yay! I still need to finish that series. I'm ashamed.
It's a good series. And also, I mean, to me, Blackthorn and Grimm, it feels very spring to me. I think that a lot of times people say that her books feel very autumnal, but I'm like, just because they take place in a forest doesn't mean that they have to be autumnal. Her books feel very springy to me.
For those of us who don't get to actually experience fall, I think that I can understand. It's like, oh, you have trees and like foliage that's the right color. Like, that's amazing. Definitely fall. Like, but that's
but this book, it's not taking place in fall. I mean, it's just that she's in the woods. Anyways, but yeah. Right. So to me, the books feel very springy to me, and so I like to read them in the spring. So that's what I'm physically reading, and then I am listening to. I just started The Honey Witch, which I've heard very like mixed things about. So I'm not sure. Like, yeah, I kind of went into it being like, I don't know if I'm even going to finish this. I got it from my library. I'm going to just like give it a shot, see how it goes. I'm, not very far into it yet, but so far it seems fine. But yeah, I also have a bunch of things queued up in my library. So I have to I need to get through The Honey Witch so that I can get to the other things, because I have a bunch of stuff waiting for me.
I'll be interested to see what you think, because I hear a lot of mixed reviews, but not necessarily from people that read kind of similar to me in terms of fantasy. I'm curious to see whether you end up DNFing or continuing.
Yeah, I don't even really remember what people disliked about it. I just remember it came out around the same time as The Spell Shop, and they had very similar covers, the vibes of the covers, and a lot of people were comparing them and just saying The Spell Shop is better, which I like The Spell Shop a lot, but that doesn't mean I can't also like Honey Witch. So, well, we'll see what happens. Although I think The Honey Witch seems like it has a more kind of historical, vaguely historical vibe to the setting.
I wonder that could also be a reason people didn't like it as much, because I feel like in my very biased sampling based on people I've watched, it seems like historical is a genre that if you specifically read historical fiction, you're fine with it being in other things, but a lot of people who don't read historical fiction are like, get this out of my fantasy.
Maybe. But also, I'm not even sure. It's just the first chapter starts with her being at a ball and talking to this guy about I don't know. It just it a little bit gave kind of like Bridgerton vibes right at the beginning where they're like at a ball and she's supposed to get married and she's like, oh, but I don't want to. And she's talking to this guy who he's like, oh, I'm a terrible dancer. And she's like, I'm a terrible dancer too. So we're a perfect match. But let's go eat we'll go eat honey cakes instead of dancing and like
I'm
all of
not
this.
like other girls.
Yeah,
Not
but I
like
think
other honey witches.
well, I think that part of it is that she actually is different because she's like witches aren't like a thing that people know about, but she is a witch, and so she has this like other calling and whatever, and also her family is like cursed in some way. So it's like there are actually things that are different about her. But it didn't really give me necessarily like not like other girls vibes. But also, I haven't gotten this far. I know there's a romance in it. I'm pretty sure it's a sapphic romance. So that could also be the like, oh, I don't want to get married like other girls. And it's like, well, there might be a reason for that.
That might be why,
yeah.
I also remember hearing that people describe it as sapphic.
Yeah. So I wasn't getting like not like other girls vibes from it. I just was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it just reminded me of scenes from like Bridgerton and stuff when they're at like parties like that. The vibes of it reminded me of that. But I don't know.
Keep us posted.
I will. I'll let you know if I finish it and then if I do what I think.
Well, I want to know if you don't finish it because that'll also be good information to know.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you know. But yeah. Today I actually was looking back at like previous years and trying to figure out like what percentage of what I read every year is physical reading versus audio reading, like listening, which was kind of interesting. And also like how many books am I physically reading? And because sometimes, from talking to people and they're like, oh, how many books do you read a year? And then we sometimes get into the thing of like, oh, well, do audiobooks count as reading? And like, I count them as reading, obviously, but
yeah,
there are many people who don't. And so then I was like, I do wonder how many of the books am I physically reading, And in general, it is about half. However, so far this year, it's been like 25% of my reading is physical reading. And it's mostly, but that is because I have been like really binging contemporary romance audiobooks. Anyway, that was a tangent, but I was trying to like do the math this morning. I went through and like was counting books and then doing the math about like, okay, what percentage of my reading is this and like all of that.
Yeah.
Cool. What time do you have to leave, Kara?
Oh yeah, do you need to get going?
Yeah, I might go ahead and wrap up now if it's cool with you guys.
Yeah, we can do this in April.
Yeah, Huck and Kelly are both linked in the description already. Anything you guys want to add or plug before we go?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, other than general channel stuff.
Yeah. And anyone want to do a last showing off of the craft project? I got a good bit done. I looked at how much I still have to go before I can switch to the next section. I'm a little bummed, but that's okay. I'll get there in the end.
I got this much done from where this blue thing is. So like a little over an inch, maybe like an inch and a half or something.
And with a sweater body, that's a lot. So
yeah, I was gonna say you're doing. It's pretty wide up there. Like it's not like so. I got.
Thank you for hanging out with us, Natalie.
This was my
Kelly
marker, and I'm to here.
Yeah. So see, that's really good.
Yeah.
Like a little. If I had cap sleeves, I'd be done.
That's one nice thing about making more like summer type tops is it's like, I'm basically done when I do the like body or the torso. So
it's like did like 2 inches and I'm done,
Yeah, exactly. So all right. So thank you both as always for hanging out and crafting with me. and for
Thanks for
keeping us on our
hosting.
monthly schedule, because I enjoy doing these so much. And thanks to everyone who hung out with us, or if you watch this back later. I hope everybody is taking care of yourselves and other people as much as you can in these times we live in. Yeah. And we will see you next month, probably near the end. So, bye.
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 And in stream.